Hello and welcome to Seek Refuge, your third line of defense. The 2010 Miners Town Hall meeting presented by Penn State Miner Training Program. This event was made possible by the Mine Safety and Health Administration's Brookwood-Sago Mine Safety Grant. Today's presentation was also made possible by the generous support of the mining industry. Special production support was provided by Amfire Mining and Strata Safety Products. Since 2007, the Mine Safety and Health Administration, or MSHA, has made funding grants available for the use in mine emergency preparedness and mine emergency response. Penn State is grateful to MSHA for its third Brookwood-Sago Mine Safety Grant. My name's Jim Burton of WJAC-TV, Johnstown, Pennsylvania. With me today, the chairman of the Mining Engineering Program, Penn State University's Dr. Larry Grayson. Hi, Larry. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Jim. Good to be here.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on and the latest new technology going on in mine safety.
Well, there's quite a bit that's been happening in mine safety. One aspect of that is the refuse alternatives. So ever since the Sago disaster, we've had a number of products that have been developed and offered and approved. And this particular meeting will deal with mine emergency situations, the paramount goal of escaping from the mine environment. And if all attempts at escape fail, then refuse alternatives are the next part of it. This expands on the previous two Brookwood-Sago grants that we had. The first dealing generally with mine emergencies and all the different aspects involved in that, SESRs, rescue chambers, and things of this nature, emergency response plans. And then the second one really focused on escape and evacuation and how to do that well and to be prepared in time of need. Here we have an expert panel today. We'll tap into their expertise on the critical issues related to refuse alternatives during emergencies. And at the end of all this, we'll have a Q&A that will come forth from the audience.
I'm sure our studio audience has a lot of questions for us here today. Also, I'm sure many of us can think in recent memory that there have been several mine incidences, not just here in Pennsylvania, but across West Virginia and into the Deep South over the past several years. What has changed in relationship to just some of those recent events as far as mine safety?
Well, primarily after 2006, when the Miner Act took place, that's when there has been a tremendous effort on becoming better prepared and escaping, and in seeking, providing support to the miners that may not be able to escape in some way, shape, or form, enhancing mine rescue, and enhancing with devices that have been approved, guidance for getting out of the mine. And there were a number of different types of emergencies that can occur. So here in Pennsylvania, Quecreek, there was an inundation, 80 million gallons of water that came from an abandoned mine into that mine. So that's one type of a situation. Other types were mine fires. And we've had the Aracoma-Alma mine number 1 fire that occurred also in 2006. We had the Sago explosion, of course, and 12 miners perished there. And there had been a series of explosions that year, like the Darby mine explosion. Then we've had the most recent Upper Big Branch South explosion. Jim Walter Resources occurred in the same decade, but that was in 2001. We also had a massive ground failure, or pillar bump of pillars in Utah at the Crandall Canyon mine. So there's quite a few different types of situations they have to be prepared to respond to.
We are going to see a couple scenarios and, of course, a couple of ways to alleviate the mine incidents that we are talking about here. Our guests are already here with us today, and the rest will join us soon. Seated now are Jeff Stanczyk, an emergency response and a training manager from the Pennsylvania Bureau of Mine Safety, Dr. Jeffrey Kravitz, and a mine emergency rescue recovery scientific development manager at MSHA, Pittsburgh Safety and Health Technology Center, and Jim Pavlik, who's a safety manager for Amfire Mining, a division of Alpha Natural Resources. Now let's meet the executive producers of the 2010 Miners Town Hall, Dr. Mark Radomski and Joe Flick, both of Penn State miner training programs. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. An underground mining emergency can happen without warning. Before we talk about the time to seek refuge in such an emergency, let's hear from someone who knows what it's like to be trapped underground. John Unger and his crew were trapped for 3 days by water that accidentally entered their mine. Joe Flick sat down with John recently to hear some of his story.
When you're in a situation like that, your will to survive is just overwhelming, and you just, you know, you do everything under your power to survive, and your focus point is you're going to do whatever it takes to get the job done, whether you're trying to escape, whether you're trying to barricade, or whatever it takes. But your will to survive is great. You know, your training is really important. I mean, no matter what you think about your training, when you go that day, you think, oh, it's going to be a long ordeal or something like that. But it's really important. You pay attention, because there's a lot of good points brought into you. And like me, I never thought you'd ever probably use any of this. I always believed that it would happen to the other guy. But as we all know, it didn't happen to the other guy, it happened to us. We never thought about anything but escaping, and it's very important. I mean, we went every option there was, because we didn't want to stay in there because of the situation, but we tried every way, because it's important. You got to work and work and work at trying to get out. You just can't do anything but just keep working at it. I mean, you know, you look at all your options, your intake, your return, whatever it takes, your belt, whatever you feel you can get out on. Use every option there is to get yourself out of that situation, not to stay. I mean, unless it's absolutely necessary to barricade or whatever you have to do. I mean, as far as that goes, you don't exhaust anything. Use every effort you have to get yourself out. We had a very, very smart mining boss. We had a very, very experienced crew. And we made up our mind that we were all going to stay together and work as a team. I mean, when you're in a situation like that, you have to stay together and you have to stay focused. I mean, you can't have somebody going here or somebody going there, because if you split up and you're not together, I said, you're not going to gain anything by it, because you're going to lose people and things like that. And you don't want to do that. You want to stay, you want to be together and work together, because everybody has an idea. And I would never want to try it by myself. The best thing to do was to work together and stay together and be a crew that you are, in a team, and put all everybody's ideas together and just, you know, go with it from there.
That was John Unger, whose life was changed by those 3 days trapped in a mine by flooding.